Chapter 7, verses 101 through 207. 101. The laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation are a leadership guidance for you who, as inhabitants, have earth as an inheritance in your care, trust, so that you are pleasing, beneficial to earth and do the best for it, so that you do not defile, curtail it in its appearance, nature, and you maintain all kinds of life forms, so that your world may be a place of joyful living. Paradise for you. 102. The true prophets also come to you indeed to show clear signs, evidence, that earth is also a life form which requires your protection and your keeping care. Therefore you shall take care for it, and shall be favorable to it. If you, however, declare this message of the prophets to be a lie, and you seal, close your attitude towards harming, disadvantaging your earth, then it will sicken in its appearance, nature, so that heavy gales and storms and upheavals and convulsions, catastrophes, will come over your world and over you, which you will no longer be able to master. 103. See therefore that you find the truth and follow the teaching of the prophets, so that you hold fast to the bond agreement with the truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation, and you do not find yourselves as malefactors against destroyers of the appearance, nature, and against the earth. 104. And truly, since time immemorial you have condemned the signs, evidence, that the true prophets bring to you, as you are outrageous, dismissive, and destructive against them, because you do not want to know the truth, but want to wallow in your Ausartungen of all kinds. But if you do not observe the signs, evidence, and teaching of the prophets and the signs of the time that they reveal to you, then you are fomenting chaos in your world, so it will suffer and be destroyed by this, as you also cause suffering and harm to yourselves, and you ruin your own gains, achievements. 105. Therefore open your ears and your eyes to the signs, evidence, that the true prophets bring to you, so that you may use it for your advantage and may have an existence, life, and pleasure. 106. Truly, it is not seemly for the true prophets to speak other than the truth about the truth. Therefore, when they come to you, they only bring clear signs, evidence, and speak clear words. Thus allow those who are connected to the truth to go with the prophets and do not persecute them, because consider that you too at your time will also become knowing, conscious of the truth, and will not want to be persecuted by the unfair ones, irresponsible ones, the ones unknowing of the truth, and unrighteous ones, conscienceless ones. 107. And if you belong to the undisguised ones, truthful ones, truth-loving ones, and you are able to interpret and to understand the signs, evidence, of the prophets and of the appearance, nature, of the wellspring of the love creation, then show, teach them to your next ones and to all those people of your kind, fellow human beings, who want to gain knowledge of them and to be connected to the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life. 108. And if you are connected to the truth, then let it be in strength and not like a weak stick which breaks when it is bent, and be as watchful as a snake which does not want to be trodden underfoot, but which can, however, defend itself if it is attacked. So shall you be in your knowledge and in your steadfastness about the truth, exactly like a strong and unbreakable rod, and like a heedful snake, so that you recognize when you are being attacked, and you can defend yourselves according to right. And the law without having contempt for the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation, so that you do rightfully in all cases. 109. And heed that if you defend yourselves, that your hands are white, not besmirched through acts of gavolt, so that all viewers, observers of your deeds may see that you are protecting yourselves rightfully, and only use means for your defense which only serve in defense, self-defense, but not, however, for killing, so that you do not make yourselves guilty of manslaughter or of blood guilt, murder, and be called to take account. Responsibility. 110. And heed that you do not deceive or steal from people of your kind, fellow human beings, neither openly, publicly, nor in secret, nor with activities of the shadow world, activities of hell, magic, legerdemain tricks, so that you are not accused of committing evil, devilish things, or the black arts, suggestive trickery. 111. And heed that you do not commit unright in any wise whatsoever, so that you are not driven from your dwelling places and not out of your land. And heed the wise counsel, advice, do right, and dread no one. 112. Restrain your unrightful doings, and do not listen to summoners, bailiffs, of the heads, authorities, rulers, mightful ones, and the false prophet, as well as the priests and servants of gods and servants of tin gods of the godlinesses, religions, and subgodlinesses, sex cults, who take you prisoner in contravention of what is rightful and accuse, denounce you of activities of the shadow world, activities of hell magic, so that you shall be coerced into becoming unfair ones, irresponsible ones, and unrighteous ones, conscienceless ones, and believers in gods and tin gods. 113. And do not allow yourselves to be ensnared through wealth and possessions which are offered to you as a reward if you give up the truth, because the summoners, bailiffs, of the godlinesses, religions, and subgodlinesses, sex cults, only want to reward you so that they may prevail over you. 114. They only want you to belong to those who are like them, the same as them, so that they may increase their throng through you and cause all kinds of calamity and be able to commit outrages, crimes, without being brought to account for them. 115. Therefore, do not belong to those who are their own next ones in iniquity, unfairness, and unaccountability, consciencelessness, because they only see and love themselves, yet only use ones like them, ones the same as them, for pursuing their shameful criminal ends. 116. Be always watchful, so that you may first cast far from you whatever is evil and unfair, irresponsible, before the unfair ones, irresponsible ones, and unrighteous ones, conscienceless ones, can lull you into evil and unfairness, irresponsibility. 117. Cast far away from you all evil and unfairness, irresponsibility, so that you will not be spellbound, and so you are righteous, conscientious, in the eyes of people of your kind, fellow human beings, so that you do not have to go in fear of them and do not have to bring forth lies and enormous hallucinations, magic, in order to be recognized by them as fair ones, responsible ones. 118. Be at all times as strong as an unbreakable rod, so that you do not consume evil and unfairness, irresponsibility, and do not make these things to your food, but regard evil and unfairness, irresponsibility, as delusiveness which brings about all terrible things. 119. Be fair and connected to the real truth, so that you recognize that all unrightful deeds are insidiousness and malice, contemptibility, against the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation. 120. Therefore be ashamed and turn away from evil and unfairness, irresponsibility, from the unrighteous, conscienceless, and from virtuelessness, so that you are no longer overcome by unright. 121. Do not allow the hallucinations, magic, of the false prophets, the priests and other servants of gods and servants of tin gods to coerce you into praying to fabulated, invented gods and tin gods. Rather recognize yourselves in the truth that you are created creations, life forms, of the sole wellspring of the love, creation. 122. Be aware, conscious, that solely the wellspring of the love, creation, is the might over all firmaments, the universe, and over all earths, worlds, planets, as well as over all lights in the firmament, celestial bodies, comets, etc., over all kinds of life, life forms, over all existence, and over everything that crawls and flies. 123. Since time immemorial you have believed in the false prophets who deceive you with cunning and have devised, hatched, invented evil against you, so that you have been led away by them from the search for the truth. Therefore you are experiencing bad consequences of your doings up to the present day. 124. Truly, through the false teaching of the false prophets, you have invented outrageous, criminal laws in order to discipline and to punish people of your kind, fellow human beings, by causing pain, torture, on them and defiling, cutting their trunk, body, and their limbs, extremities, and committing bloody deeds, murder, on them as punishment, and practicing barbarity, inhumanity. If you do the same, then you are acting against the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, because they do not allow you to discipline and cause pain, torture, to people of your kind, fellow human beings, to cut off their hands and feet and crucify them, stone them, strangle them, or cut off their head. Truly, the false prophets do not teach you the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, but rather what is hellish, devilish, demonic, and cruel, so that you shall be heinous, depraved, and fall prey to deprivation. 125. Turn away from your villainy, and see that you find the way to the truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, so that you are fair ones, responsible ones, and righteous ones, conscientious ones, and live in virtuousness, so that you no longer follow the false laws of the false prophets, but rather are fair to the dignity of people of your kind, being human in the real and true sense. 126. Do not mete out revenge or retaliation on people of your kind, fellow human beings, if they turn to the signs, evidence, of the truth and live according to the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation. Rather pour steadfastness into them, so that they may continue to live in the truth and will one day die, as ones knowing of the truth when their time has come. 127. Do not allow yourselves to foment chaos in the land and amongst the people, or that you turn to gods and tin gods as well as to the false prophets, priests, and other servants of gods and servants of tin gods. Truly, you have gavolt over yourselves in order to do goodness and to turn to the truth and the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation. If you are only willing to do so, and as you shall bind yourselves to the truth, so you shall not kill, neither your enemies nor your sons and daughters, just as you as man and woman shall not kill one another. Gavolt is given to you over life and death, so that you may protect life and prevent death, so that it only takes possession of you and people of your kind, fellow human beings, on the way of the natural, because truly you shall not kill people of your kind, human beings, but rather save yourselves from death and gavolt, terror. 128. Search at all times for help and guidance in the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, and be steadfast in the knowledge and in the wisdom of the truth. Truly, it is only in the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, that you will find the guideline, leading thought of existence, life, so that you may honor life and avoid death and Ausartung, so that it only comes to you naturally. Thus life is bequeathed, given to you by the wellspring of the love, creation, as well as death, but in such a wise that you make life worth living in order to avoid death until the way of the natural comes to an end and death calls you yourselves because you have completed the time of the life. 129. Do not create any enmity with other peoples, and neither amongst people of your kind, next ones and fellow human beings, so that you do not suffer persecution by the enemies who want to eliminate you, and conduct yourselves with dignity and righteousness, conscientiousness, equitableness, fairness, and virtuousness. So no others raise themselves up over you as rulers and are able to steal your dwelling places and your land. 130. And cultivate your land and the whole earth without tormenting and destroying it. And be admonished to do this, because otherwise it will raise itself up against you and bring you unweather, high waters, enormous storms, fire and drought, as well as deaths of fruits and other provision food. 131. See that only good comes to you from earth, as it will be, and as it is due to you, as you are entitled to, when you strive for it. Do at all times rightfully with your world, so that no calamity breaks in, over you from it for which you yourselves are to blame. Consider that if calamity breaks in, over you, that you alone are to blame for it, even if most of you do not know it, because you do not care about the laws of condition, cause, and of decision. Effect equals cause and effect. 132. See the signs of your appearance, nature, and allow yourselves to be captivated, influenced by them, so that you recognize that the earth with its laws of its appearance, nature, will not submit to you, but that you must fall in line with it. Integrate yourselves, in order to spend your existence life in togetherness with it, and to draw the best gains effects from it. 133. Therefore consider, whatever you do with your earth, it will never submit to you. 134. And be certain, knowing that if you do not do rightfully with your world and with all people of your kind, humankind, then grievances, vexations, will come over you, such as great storms and high waters, and you will be oppressed, plagued by locusts, by lice and frogs, as well as by scourges, plagues, and vermin, and many kinds of life forms, and people of your kind, human beings, who change into deformed ones, mutated ones, for which you are to blame and spread torment. Therefore do not be arrogant, vain, and do not commit outrages, misdemeanors, against the appearance, nature, or against the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, so that no calamity comes over you. 135. Do not bring about judgment on yourselves through your earth and its appearance, nature, but in all your doings be based on the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life which promises you goodness and well-being if you free yourselves from evil and unfairness, irresponsibility, and from unrighteousness, consciencelessness, as well as from unknowledge of the truth. 136. Do not put off the time for turning to the truth so that you do not become a victim of your own punishment that you carry out and complete on yourselves when you recognize that through a promise of a bond, agreement, with the truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, you could have been able to lead a better life, which had not been given through your own blame. 137. Do not mete out revenge and retaliation on people of your kind, fellow human beings, if they have done bad things to you, but heed love and forgiveness so that you are truly people of your kind, human beings. Do not allow people of your kind, fellow human beings, to drown in the sea or in other bodies of water, or to lie in misery if they are in need, just so that you can mete out revenge and retaliation on them. And do not mete out revenge and retaliation on people of your kind, fellow human beings, because they treat the signs evidence of the truth as lies, or because they do not heed your honor and dignity, because they do it out of unintellect dumbness, and because they do not know what they are doing. 138. And give help to people of your kind, fellow human beings, if they are weak, because the help is given to you as an inheritance and a boon, prosperousness, through the wellspring of the love, creation, so that you may pass it on to people of your kind, fellow human beings, and all kinds of life forms, when they have need of it. Therefore be full of kind-heartedness to people of your kind, human beings, and to all kinds of life forms, and always find friendly and forgiving words for them, so that you fulfill the laws of the feelings for others and provide steadfastness to those who need it. Give them power and confidence for their existence, life, so that they do not destroy everything that they have built and created. 139. Do not leave your country, and also do not take a ship over the sea, and go to another land in order to go to a people that is devoted to gods or tin gods. And do not go there in order to do the same as them, so that you do not pray to gods and tin gods, and you do not fall prey to the untruth. 140. And do not bear hatred towards people of your kind, next ones, and appreciate their good deeds and everything that they have created of goodness. Therefore you shall not go there, and you shall not cast into ruin the gains, achievements, that they have laboriously created. Do not be conceited, arrogant, or obsessed by the things of people of your kind, next ones, that they have created, so that you do not desire them in an unrightful wise, and you do not appropriate them for yourselves in an unrightful wise. 141. Consider that you shall not be raised above your desires, standing above your own wishes, but that you shall proceed in modesty and not demand the gain, achievement, of people of your kind, next ones, neither their possessions and wealth, nor their woman or man. 142. Consider the time that bitter torment can oppress you if you yourselves are robbed of your possessions or wealth or your woman or man, or if your gains, achievements, are stolen from you. 143. The laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, have given you a promise that you will live in joy and prosperity until your end if you do rightfully and fulfill the laws and recommendations to the best of your ability. And as you do rightfully and fulfill the laws and recommendations to the best of your ability, not fomenting any chaos, guiding yourselves and people of your kind, fellow human beings, rightly and honoring and rightly treating your earth, then you have the life of joy, paradise on earth. 144. Do not be presumptuous and do not dare to want to see the wellspring of the love, creation, in its spirit energy, because as an unmeasurable secret it exists so high above you that you would perish if you could see its spirit energy, but you can never behold it in this wise. But see that the wellspring of the love, creation, is ubiquitous and in all and everything. So you merely have to look at everything that you can see with your eyes, the firmament's universe, the earth's worlds, planets, the lights in the firmament, celestial bodies and comets, etc. the appearance, nature, and all kinds of life forms, as well as people of your kind, human beings, and everything that crawls and flies, because the wellspring of the love, creation, breathes in everything, because it is present in everything. 145. All of you people of your kind, human beings, you have been selected by the wellspring of the love, creation, as its highest created kind of life form, to look after Earth, the firmament's universe, the Earth's, worlds, planets, the lights in the firmament, celestial bodies and comets, etc., as well as being the guardians, protectors of them and all kinds of life forms. Therefore you shall take and look after everything in this wise, just as you shall be connected to the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, and it itself in gratitude for this. 146. Always remember the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, and the teaching of the prophets, through which you are admonished, and find explanations in all things. So you shall hold fast to it and make the best of it in all respects, so that you are not malefactors, lawbreakers, against the truth. 147. Consider that if you conduct yourselves arrogantly, vainly, against the truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, and if you are against all right and against the accountability, then although you can see the signs, evidence, of the wellspring of the love, creation, in its appearance, nature, and all around in the firmament's universe, and on the Earth's, worlds, planets, as well as in the lights of the firmament, celestial bodies, comets, and in all kinds of life forms, in people of your kind, human beings, and in everything that crawls and flies, you nevertheless cannot recognize, the signs, evidence. As such, and neither can you understand them, because you do not live according to the truth, and you do not know it either. And if you are shown the way of the truth, and also see the way of fairness, responsibility, and of accountability, then you do not want to accept it or to walk upon it, but continue along the way of erroneous assumption which you have made your own, because you treat the signs, evidence, of the wellspring of the love, creation, as a lie, and do not heed them. 148. And those amongst you who do not heed the signs, evidence, of the wellspring of the love, creation, and do not heed the truth, your deeds are arrogant, vain, and are not steadfast, and therefore you cannot be rewarded for goodness, but instead you can only receive a poor reward for what you do that is lacking goodness. 149. And do not make yourselves gods and tin gods out of gold and pieces of jewelry, neither from wood or from stone or from metal or anything else, because they are only lifeless insubstantialities which cannot bring forth any sound, because truly you shall be connected only to the truth of the wellspring of the love, creation, and its laws and recommendations, through which you are led, guided, onto the right way, and which do not demand any worship from you, so that you are not malefactors, irresponsible ones, against the truth. 150. Truly, it is only rightful for you to be seized by remorse for what you do that is disgraceful, criminal, to the truth. Recognize that you are truly going into delusion and are doing unright, so that you may give yourselves rightful instruction, teaching, and have pity for yourselves and forgive yourselves, so that you are not lost ones who wallow in the untruth. 151. Be worried, concerned. If you take the way of falsehood and perpetrate evil because you are in a rush to concoct, hatch a way for yourselves that should bring you quickly to possessions and wealth, because truly only your worries, concern about your evil striving and about your evil deeds can prevent you from doing what is unrightful, so that enemies do not rejoice over you and cannot rightfully accuse, blame you of misdeeds. 152. Be worried, concerned. If unrighteous, conscienceless, and unfair, irresponsible, and virtueless thoughts and feelings befall you, so you grant yourselves access to your own equitableness, fairness, and righteousness, conscientiousness, and virtuousness, and you are your own giver of compassion. 153. However, do not pray to yourselves so that you do not become arrogant, vain, to yourselves, and you do not bring down upon yourselves rage and ignominy from people of your kind, fellow human beings, and lead your life here below in deference, honorableness, so that no others confabulate, invent lies and slanders, calumnies against you which harm you. However, if they do invent lies and slanders, calumnies against you, if you are not arrogant, vain, and if you direct, maintain your existence life in modesty, righteousness, conscientiousness, virtues and equitableness, fairness. Then the lies and slanders, calumnies, will turn to your advantage and benefit success, and become a disadvantage, detriment, harm, and a uselessness to the liars and slanderers, calumniators. 154. If you do evil and commit unfairness, irresponsibility, unrighteousness, consciencelessness, and virtuelessness, then people of your kind, fellow human beings, will forgive you in the same wise as you can forgive yourselves if you feel sorry in uprightness and in openness, honesty, and you visibly, obviously, and recognizably change to the better. 155. And do not allow rage to rise up in you, but calm yourselves down if you become agitated, because you require your own leadership guidance, in calmness, equanimity, so that you are afraid of what shameful, villainous things you could do in rage. 156. Choose yourselves as righteous ones, conscientious ones, and fair ones, responsible ones, and do not set any delay in doing so. Rather make the change in the moment, immediately, so that you no longer do unrighteous things, conscienceless things, and unfair things, irresponsible things. Eradicate everything in you that cannot be brought into agreement with the truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation. And do it for the sake of being righteous ones, conscientious ones, fair ones, responsible ones, and virtuous ones, so that you withstand each temptation and you no longer fall into calamity. Be your own protectors. Take pity on yourselves and forgive yourselves, because you are the best forgivers if you are sincerely remorseful and you free yourselves from all unright and all unrighteousness, consciencelessness, and inequity, unfairness. 157. Determine goodness for yourselves in this world, and turn honestly and remorsefully to the truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation, so that no punishment whatsoever may strike you because of yourselves or people of your kind, human beings, but rather that you may be surrounded by an all-embracing feeling of good protection, as is given to all things when what is done rightfully, as is determined by the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation. 158. And if you follow the true prophets, then you direct yourselves according to what is right, and avoid unright, as is recommended to you through the recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation. And the recommendations recommend that you shall only allow yourselves good things, but deny yourselves bad things, so that everything may vanish from you that places a burden upon you, and which keeps you in chains, which makes you captives of your own selves. And if you open your ears to the word of your true prophets and make their teaching into your knowledge and your wisdom, thereby honoring the prophets in their duty, mission, obligation, and strengthening them and helping them and following the light, clarity of teaching, that they spread, then things will be fine with you. 159. All you people of your kind, humankind, truly, your true prophets are the light signpost on your world, and therefore they are the pioneers that you may one day understand the firmaments, universe, and the earth's, world's, planets, the lights in the firmaments, celestial bodies and comets, etc., as well as the kinds of life, life forms, and people of your kind, human beings. And they teach you that the appearance, nature, and the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, give life and let it die again in order to reawaken it through the power of the spirit body, spirit form. Therefore you are recommended to open your ears to the true prophets and their teaching and their words, and to follow them so that you may be rightly led, guided. 160. All people of your kind, humankind, be a unity community, in which you admonish yourselves through the teaching of the prophets to the truth, according to its laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, its equitableness, fairness, righteousness, conscientiousness, and sincerity, as well as virtuousness and love. 161. Although you are divided into tribes and peoples, you are still a unity community, as all people of your kind, humankind. Therefore you shall not rise up against one another with hatred, battle, war, revenge, and retribution, so that peace and freedom, as well as consonance, harmony, may prevail amongst you, as is recommended to you through the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation. Therefore you shall not commit misdemeanors, infringements against it. 162. Live as a great community of people of your kind, humankind, in true peace, in love, freedom, and in consonance, harmony. On earth, do good things for one another and create assuagement from all your burden. And do not allow yourselves to be driven through the gate of submissiveness by people of your kind, human beings, or by fabulated, invented gods, tin gods and demons, when priests and other servants of gods, servants of tin gods and servants of demons promise you salvation, redemption, and forgiveness for your missteps. Vices blame unvirtues offenses, vices, blames, and unvirtues. Because truly their promises are only lies and powerless words, because they do not have the might to liberate you from your missteps, blames, vices, and virtuelessnesses. Only you yourselves can forgive yourselves if you sincerely feel sorry for your unrightful deeds, and henceforth do good deeds, and continuously increase the number of good deeds. 163. Do not be unfair ones, irresponsible ones, and do not confuse the word of the truth with words of the untruth when you speak with people of your kind, fellow human beings, so that you do not charge yourselves with lying, and no shame comes over you as judgment from those to whom you twist the words of the truth into words of the untruth, calumny. Do not be outrageous, presumptuous with your words, but always use them carefully and decently, so that you cannot be charged with impoliteness, boorishness. 164. And do not defile your honor and dignity by making enemies of, insulting others, and making yourselves out to be better than you are, so that other people will not be indignant at you. 165. And do not go to people of your kind, next ones, and amongst the people in order to preach that the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life shall be eradicated as a teaching of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation, and that those who teach and live according to it shall have a strict punishment meted out on them. Truly, such doing is only performed by unfair ones, irresponsible ones, and belief-oriented priests of the gods, tin gods and demons, and there are no pretexts, excuses for this, because such preaching amounts to all of the disgracefulness, badness, ignominy that a person of your kind, human being, can load onto himself or herself in unrighteousness, consciencelessness. 166. Never forget what the true prophets warn you about through the teaching of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, so that you may save yourselves from the evil that is not recommended to you, so that you do not impose a strict punishment on yourselves, and that you do not have to accuse, blame yourselves in strictness as ones who are rebelling against the truth of the primal power, creation, and as unfair ones, irresponsible ones. 167. Do not rebel defiantly against the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, that are given to you, so that you may do rightfully and impose prohibitions on yourselves for those things that are unrightful. Cultivate your thoughts and feelings in equitableness, fairness, in righteousness, conscientiousness, and in virtuousness, so that you recognize yourselves in value as people of your kind, human beings, and you finally do not insult yourselves as contemptible apes. 168. And consider the words of the true prophets who teach and announce to you at their time that you will certainly, without doubt, awaken on the day of your appraisal, cognition of the truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation, and will exert pressure on and eliminate the evil in you with grim anguish, so that you bring about a resurrection of the good and truthfully in yourselves, and you can forgive yourselves. 169. As all-embracing people of your kind, humankind, you are divided into tribes and peoples, and so there are some amongst you with a belief, assumptions, in gods and tin gods, and others with a belief, assumptions, in other gods and tin gods. And therefore there are amongst you as all-embracing people of your kind, humankind, righteous ones, conscientious ones, and fair ones, responsible ones. And there are amongst you some who are neither. But truly you are split up, not consolidated, in belief, assumptions, in gods, tin gods, and demons, so that you have many godlinesses, religions, and subgodlinesses, sex cults, all of which offer fallacious teachings with much more lying and slander, calumny, than real truth. Therefore all godlinesses, religions, and subgodlinesses, sex cults, are recommended to liberate themselves from their fabulated, invented gods, tin gods, and demons, and to turn themselves to the real truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation, so that they only continue to teach the truth and no longer lead all people of your kind, humankind, into confusion, but rather into the light of existence, reality, so that amongst all people of your kind, humankind, in you and amongst you all, there may be true knowledge, truthfully love and wisdom, as well as peace and freedom and consonance, harmony. 170. You people of your kind, human beings, do not continue to allow awful things to come over you through the belief assumptions in gods, tin gods and demons, as is preached to you in delusion by false prophets, priests, servants of gods, servants of tin gods, and servants of demons who inherited false writings of false prophets and scribes and lead you into delusion with them. And do not reach for these delusional teachings or for the miserable goods of this world that mislead you into avarice and make you thinking that you are more than people of your kind, fellow human beings. If you own more wealth and goods than the others, consider that the false prophets and false scribes have made a bond agreement with the untruth and slander, calumny, so that you also shall not reach for it and shall not allow yourselves to be led into delusion. Only lead yourselves to the truthfully teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life, as is given to you through the teaching of the prophets, out of the truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation, that has been researched by the true prophets and who have recognized the real truth in it and proclaim and teach it to you. 171. But those amongst you who hold fast to the false teachings of the false prophets and false scribes and make prayers to gods and tin gods in submissiveness, and who worship priests and other servants of gods and servants of tin gods, or people of your kind, human beings, as envoys or representatives, substitutes, of the gods, tin gods and demons, you lose the reward of righteousness, conscientiousness, of equitableness, fairness, and virtues, and your existence, life, will always be full of fear of punishment and of calamity. 172. Hold fast to the truth and do not allow mountains of unright and unrighteousness, consciencelessness, to fall down over you like a blanket, and be always conscious of the fact that only the truth can rescue you from levels of the unright and untruth. 173. And consider that if you bring forth, create descendants from your loins, that you shall teach, instruct them the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life, so that you do not make them into witnesses against their own selves and against the truth, so that they become knowing of the true existence, reality, and are not unknowing of the truth at the end of their days. 174. If you do not turn to the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life under your own power and out of your own true discernment, intellect, and if you place gods, tin gods, demons, and spirits next to the wellspring of the love creation, then do not lay the blame for this on your forefathers and foremothers, ancestors, forebears, who did the same at an earlier time. Consider that you are living long after them and are of other seed generations, and are yourselves responsible for what you do. Therefore it is given to you yourselves as to whether you follow the truth and take joy in good living, or whether you destroy your good living for the sake of what you do that is deceitful and unfair, irresponsible. 175. Truly, you can see and recognize the signs, evidence, of the presence, existence, of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation, in all its appearance, nature, if you would only comprehend, understand it, so that you may return to the truth. 176. Do not go past the signs, evidence, of the appearance, nature, of the wellspring of the love creation, without heeding them, so you do not reach out your hand to the evil in you, so that you go into delusion and act unrightfully. 177. Raise yourselves up over evil, and do not tend towards the earthly material, and do not follow the evil desires that arise from it. Do not demand excessively for earthly goods, so that you do not resemble thirsty dogs which hang out their tongues when they are thirsty. Therefore you shall not be the same as them, and not thirstily chase after earthly goods, and thereby forget the unfolding evolution of your inner world consciousness, and not either the consonance, harmony, of your thoughts and feelings in your psyche. Therefore heed the signs, evidence, of the existence of the wellspring of the love creation, in its laws and recommendations of its appearance, nature, so that you are not deprived of the truth, and you bethink the presentation, description, explanations of the true prophets, 178. Truly, things stand badly with those amongst you who treat the signs, evidence, of the truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, as a lie, because you are thereby lying against your own self and are slandering, calumniating it. 179. Only if you allow yourselves to be led, guided, by the real truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, are you on the right way. But if you go astray, then you are lost ones in existence, life, because you are afflicted by fear of punishment and calamity. 180. Truly, people of your kind, human beings, have created much calamity and shadows, hells, in the world and in themselves, and truly you are also doing the same as them. You have true discernment, intellect, but you do not use it, and you have thoughts and feelings, but you use them wrongly and do not understand their power. And you have eyes, but you do not see, and you have ears and do not hear. And truly you are like stubborn cattle when you should comprehend, understand the truth. You have strayed badly from the truth and from the true equitableness, fairness, and righteousness, conscientiousness, and are truly inconsiderate. And so you are far from all truthfully love and consonance, harmony, as well as far from any true freedom and the peace in you and amongst all people of your kind, humankind. 181. Search for the real truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, and of its appearance, nature. Call for it and unify yourselves with it, and do not allow at your side those who are fugitive from the truth. Rather strive to teach them whilst keeping yourselves at a distance nevertheless, so that they do not deceive you and do not make you go into confusion. 182. Consider, you are all created to learn the truth and to go hand in hand with it, and for you to lead, guide, people of your kind, fellow human beings, with the truth so that you practice equitableness, fairness, and they do the same. 183. And consider, if you repudiate the signs, evidence, of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, and of its appearance, nature, then you are making yourselves step by step responsible for the elimination of true love, for unpeace, for unfreedom, bondage, virtuelessness, and for dissonance, disharmony, in yourselves and amongst people of your kind, fellow human beings. Because you do not know the law of condition, cause, and of decision, effect equals cause and effect, and therefore you do not act according to it. 184. You give yourselves free rein in your unknowledge regarding the truth, so you mindfully make room for inequity, unfairness, and unrighteousness, consciencelessness, which is used for waging battle, war, and for killing, in order to practice hatred, revenge, and retaliation, and to commit all kinds of outrages, acts of gavolt, and crimes. 185. Consider the words of the true prophets, which clearly warn you that you shall not be obsessed by terrible things and by evil. 186. Take a look at the realm of the firmaments, universe, and of the earth's, worlds, planets, at the lights in the firmament, celestial bodies, comets, etc., as well as at yourselves and at all kinds of life, life forms, and at all other things that are created through the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, and see that a fixed lifetime is given to all, so that everything is integrated into the appearing, becoming, and the disappearing. Passing equals becoming and passing, in order to be reawakened, reborn, at its time, however. 187. Do not condemn yourselves to going astray, so that you have no leadership guidance through yourselves and you do not wander blindly through your existence, life, and intractability. 188. Do not ask during the time of your life when the hour will come that will be your last, so that you do not act unrightfully, but rather strive to learn the truth and to live according to it, so that you can go on your way in joy at the end of your time. Truly, even if you ask about the hour that will be your last during the time of your life, then you cannot discover it, because knowledge of it shall not weigh heavily upon you. So the hour, death, shall only break over you suddenly, so that you are not sad in your existence, life. You do not become confused in your inner world, consciousness, and do not do terrible things and do not cause any calamity. 189. Truly, you as people of your kind, human being, have the might to benefit or to harm yourselves and people of your kind, fellow human beings, because neither a god, nor tin god, nor demon can determine over this, because all of them are entirely merely fabulations, inventions, of people of your kind, human beings, who fallaciously set mights over you, who do not have any knowledge of the secret of what is hidden creation, in which the fullness, measure, of goodness and of true love is secured, and which is not touched by terrible things. 190. It is the wellspring of the love creation that created you out of its unchangeabilities, laws, man and woman. And as you are therefore its created creations, creatures, creations, life forms, you shall revive yourselves with everything that it has created for your benefit, success. And so you do rightfully and recognize and follow the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation. So you have a light burden to carry throughout your life. But if the burden becomes heavy for you, then adjust yourselves and yourselves accordingly, so that you will be of good courage and can with gratitude cast down, master, everything terrible. 191. And when things go well for you again, and you are enjoying your life again, then do not impute, ascribe. It is a gift granted by gods, 10 gods or demons, because truly it is you yourselves who give yourselves help and power, because you are unsurpassable, sublime, over all things that you undertake and that you place at your side. 192. Truly, although you can place things at your side according to your preference, will, as people of your kind, human beings, you cannot place anything next to the wellspring of the love creation, which could also be equivalent to it and even a speck of dust of the weight, because as the creative one of all things, creation, it is sublime over everything, because it is the wellspring, origin, and the condition cause of all reality existence. 193. You as people of your kind, human beings, you are dependent on the power of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation, because they grant you help in all things providing you follow their guidelines, explanations, instructions, and direct your existence, life according to them. But you cannot offer help to the laws and recommendations, because you are only ordinary and do not have might over them. 194. And if you want the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation to bend according to you, then they do not do this, irrespective of whether you call upon or curse them or you are silent, because they are formed according to the idea of the wellspring of the love creation, and only integrated into its might, however not into yours. 195. Truly, those people of your kind, human beings, whom you call upon as envoys or representatives, substitutes, of gods, 10 gods or demons for them to bend the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation. For you, they are as mightless as you yourselves, so that they can call upon, whether by day or night, and yet are unable to change anything, because they are not truthful, infallible, and do not have the might of the wellspring of the love creation. 196. Truly, you do not have feet to go to the wellspring of the love creation, and therefore you do not have hands to grasp it, just as you do not have eyes to see it or ears to hear it, because truly it is of pure spiritual activity, energy, and power, and is raised over all existence. Therefore you shall honor and heed it, and not call on gods and 10 gods, neither on demons, just as you shall also not forge any cunnings against it, but rather you shall use your time to be connected to the truth of its laws and recommendations. 197. Truly, the laws and recommendations of the primal power, creation, are your protectors when you do rightfully. And from them comes forth the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life which you shall learn and follow, so that you may be fair, responsible, righteous, conscientious, and virtuous people of your kind, human beings. 198. Those amongst you, however, who do not follow the truth and who call on gods and 10 gods, you cannot be helped by the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love creation to become fair ones, responsible ones, righteous ones, conscientious ones, and virtuous ones, because you cannot help yourselves. 199. And if you call upon your gods and 10 gods, then they do not hear you, because something that is not living, not connected to the truth and knowing, cannot give an answer, and therefore you cannot look at, see, what is existing. 200. Be at all times lenient, forgiving, towards people of your kind, fellow human beings, and towards all creatures, life forms, and practice benevolence. Turn away from what is unfair, irresponsible, so that you may be fair to all in your existence life. 201. And if you are urged by an evil whispering from yourselves or through people of your kind, fellow human beings, Then take refuge in the truth of the wellspring of the love, creation, and in its laws and recommendations so that you do not fall prey to evil and unfairness, irresponsibility. 202. Truly, if you are fair ones, responsible ones, and righteous ones, conscientious ones, and are connected to the true teaching of the prophets, then you will be reminded to, the truth when you start to see, understand, that you are befallen by evil whisperings, so you defend yourselves against them. 203. Therefore, always heed the truth in whatever thing so that you obtain help from the truth and do not fall into erroneous assumption or continue in erroneous assumption. And if you turn away from the erroneous assumption, then it cannot pursue you or bring you onto the wrong way. 204. And if you see the signs, evidence, of the truth of the reality, existence, of the primal power, creation, in the appearance, nature, and in the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, then do not invent false truths, lies, and slanders, calumnies about them. Rather follow the signs, evidence, that are revealed to you. Truly the signs, evidence, of the wellspring of the love, creation, are clear, and they are a clear leadership, guidance, for all peoples of all. People of your kind, humankind. 205. And if the true teaching of the prophets is presented to you, which is created from the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of the love, creation, and its appearance, nature, then lend it your ear so that you obtain cognition and true discernment, intellect, and clear-sightedness, understanding. So you find pity in yourselves and you become fair ones, responsible ones, and righteous ones, conscientious ones. 206. And consider the truth at all times in an open wise of your inner world consciousness, so that you do not fall into submissiveness and fear in front of it, and so that you do not speak great words about it morning and evening, so those who are searching for the truth do not turn away from it and become neglectful ones. 207. Truly, if you are close to the real truth of the wellspring of the love, creation, and its laws and recommendations as well as its appearance, nature, then no longer turn away from it arrogantly, vainly, but steep yourselves in it even more so that you may become even more knowing and wise and can live your life in true love and inner freedom as well as in peace and consonance, harmony.